The vast emptiness of space had always been a mystery to humanity. For centuries, they looked up at the stars, wondering if they were alone in the universe. Little did they know, their question was about to be answered. It was a regular Tuesday at NASA's control center when the first signs appeared. Jane, a young scientist with bright eyes and messy hair, stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The numbers didn't make sense. She double-checked, then triple-checked her calculations. "Hey, Mike." She called out to her supervisor. "You might want to see this." Mike, an older man with graying hair and thick glasses, walked over. He leaned in, squinting at the screen. His eyes widened as he realized what he was seeing. "Is this real?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Jane nodded. "I've checked it multiple times. It's real." The data showed a massive object entering the solar system. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. Too big to be an asteroid, too fast to be a comet. There was only one explanation: aliens. Within hours, the news spread like wildfire. Government officials from around the world gathered in emergency meetings. Military leaders prepared for the worst. The public, caught between excitement and fear, watched the skies with a mix of hope and dread. In Washington, D.C., President Sarah Thompson sat in the Oval Office, surrounded by her top advisors. The room was tense, filled with the low murmur of urgent conversations. "What are our options?" she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. General Rodriguez, a tall man with a stern face, stepped forward. "We've put our forces on high alert, Madam President. Our satellites are tracking the object's movement. We're ready to defend Earth if necessary." Dr. Chen, the chief scientist, spoke up next. "We should try to communicate with them first. This could be a peaceful visit." President Thompson nodded, considering both viewpoints. "Prepare for both scenarios," she decided. "I want our defenses ready, but I also want to send out a message of peace." As Earth's leaders debated their next move, the alien object drew closer. Amateur astronomers around the world pointed their telescopes at the sky, hoping to catch a glimpse of the visitors. In a small town in Kansas, 12-year-old Tommy excitedly adjusted his telescope. His dad stood nearby, watching with a mixture of pride and worry. "Do you think they'll be friendly, Dad?" Tommy asked, his eyes glued to the eyepiece. His father patted him on the shoulder. "I hope so, son. I really hope so." As dawn broke over the horizon, the alien ship entered Earth's orbit. It was massive, easily the size of a small moon. Its surface shimmered with an otherworldly metal, reflecting the sun's rays in a dazzling display. Across the globe, people gathered in streets, parks, and rooftops. They pointed at the sky, their faces a mix of awe and fear. For the first time in human history, they were seeing proof that they were not alone in the universe. In New York City, crowds filled Times Square. The giant screens that usually showed ads now displayed live footage of the alien ship. People hugged strangers, cried, and prayed. It was a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. Back at NASA, Jane and Mike worked tirelessly to analyze the data pouring in from their sensors. The ship's technology was far beyond anything they had ever seen. It was clear that these aliens, whoever they were far more advanced than humans. "Look at this," Jane said, pointing to a new set of readings. "They're scanning us." Mike leaned in, his brow furrowed. "Are they preparing to attack?" Jane shook her head. "I don't think so. It looks more like they're studying us." As the world held its breath, waiting for the aliens to make their move, a realization began to dawn on humanity. Whether these visitors came in peace or war, nothing would ever be the same again. The age of human isolation in the universe was over. In the White House Situation Room, President Thompson stood surrounded by her advisors. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. "Send the message," she ordered. "Let's hope they're here to talk." As the carefully crafted greeting was beamed into space, the people of Earth waited. The Galactic Empire had arrived, and humanity's greatest test was about to begin. The world watched with bated breath as the massive alien ships entered Earth's orbit. They were sleek and silver, unlike anything humans had ever built. Their size alone was enough to make even the bravest soldiers feel small. In the skies above New York, Tokyo, and Moscow, the Imperial scout ships appeared. They hovered silently, their presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. People in the streets below pointed and stared, their phones out to capture this historic moment. At the United Nations headquarters, world leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. The room buzzed with nervous energy as they discussed their next move. "We must show them we are not afraid," said the French president, her voice firm. The Chinese delegate nodded in agreement, "But we must also be careful. We do not know their intentions." As they debated, a young intern burst into the room. "Excuse me," he said, breathless. "You need to see this." He turned on a large screen, showing live footage from around the world. In city after city, Earth's defense systems were activating. Missile launchers rose from hidden bunkers. Fighter jets took to the skies. And in orbit, secret space stations unveiled their weapons. The room fell silent. Many of the leaders were seeing these defenses for the first time. They had no idea their countries had been hiding such advanced technology. Meanwhile, aboard the lead Imperial ship, Admiral Zax peered down at the blue planet. His 4 eyes blinked in surprise as he watched Earth's defenses come to life. "Interesting," he muttered. "These humans are more advanced than our report suggested." His second-in-command, a tall, green-skinned alien named Vex, looked worried. "Should we attack now, before they can fully prepare?" Admiral Zax shook his head. "No, the Emperor wants us to try diplomacy first. Prepare a communication." Back on Earth, in a top-secret military base deep under the Rocky Mountains, General Sarah Rodriguez watched as her team scrambled to action. Screens lit up all around her, showing the alien ships and Earth's defenses. "Status report," she barked. A young lieutenant responded. "All systems are go, ma'am. Our new plasma cannons are online, and the force fields are at full strength." General Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. They had been preparing for this day for years, developing technology in secret. Now, it was time to see if it would be enough. In orbit, the International Space Station had transformed. Hidden panels opened to reveal advanced sensors and communication arrays. The astronauts aboard worked frantically to gather data on the alien ships. Commander Lee, a veteran astronaut with nerves of steel, spoke into his radio. "Houston, are you seeing this? Their tech is like nothing we've ever seen." Back in Houston, Mission Control was a flurry of activity. Scientists and engineers pored over the incoming data, trying to make sense of it all. Dr. Emily Chen, the lead xenobiologist, stared at her screen in amazement. "Their biology," she whispered. "It's so different. How did they evolve?" As Earth prepared for possible conflict, the aliens made their first move. A signal beamed down from the lead ship, hitting every communications device on the planet. In homes, offices, and on the streets, people stopped what they were doing as their phones, computers, and even old radios crackled to life. A deep, oddly accented voice spoke. "People of Earth, we are the Galactic Empire. We come seeking new worlds to add to our domain. Surrender peacefully, and you will be treated well under our rule." The message repeated in every language on Earth. As it played, faces around the world showed a mix of fear, anger, and determination. In the Oval Office, President Thompson listened to the message with a grim expression. When it ended, she turned to her advisors. "Well," she said, her voice steady, "I think it's time we show these aliens what humanity is made of. Prepare our response." As night fell across the Earth, tension filled the air. The Galactic Empire had made its intentions clear. Now, it was humanity's turn to respond. The next few hours would determine the fate of the entire planet. The world held its breath as a small group of humans prepared to meet the aliens face to face. Earth's leaders had chosen a team of 5 to represent humanity. a diplomat, a scientist, a military officer, a linguist, and a cultural expert. Dr. Maria Santos, the diplomat, stood at the front of the group. Her heart raced, but her face remained calm. Behind her, Colonel Jack Harper kept a hand on his weapon, eyes scanning for any threat. The meeting place was a large field in Switzerland, chosen for its neutrality. A sleek alien shuttle had landed there an hour ago. Now, as the human team approached, a door on the shuttle opened with a soft hiss. 3 aliens stepped out. They were tall, with blue skin and 4 arms each. Their eyes, large and purple, blinked slowly as they took in the humans. Dr. Santos took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady. "We come in peace and hope for friendly talks." The lead alien, wearing a shimmering robe, spoke. Its voice was oddly musical. "I am Ambassador Zorn of the Galactic Empire. We accept your welcome." As they talked, tensions began to rise. The aliens seemed surprised by how advanced humans were. "Your weapons," Ambassador Zorn said. "They are unexpected. We thought your kind was less developed." Colonel Harper's eyes narrowed. "We're full of surprises," he said, his voice low. Dr. Lai, the scientist, tried to change the subject. "We're very interested in learning about your technology. Perhaps we could share knowledge." Ambassador Zorn's face hardened. "The Empire does not share. We rule. That is our way." The humans exchanged worried glances. This was not going well. Meanwhile, in cities around the world, people watched the meeting on giant screens. In New York's Times Square, a crowd had gathered. Among them was Sarah, a young student. "They don't look very friendly," Sarah said to her friend Mike. Mike nodded, his face serious. "I hope our leaders know what they're doing." Back at the meeting, Ambassador Zorn was making demands. "Your planet will join the Empire. Resist, and we will use force." Dr. Santos stood tall. "We are not a people who surrender easily. Perhaps you should reconsider your approach." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You dare to threaten the Empire." Colonel Harper stepped forward. "It's not a threat. It's a warning. Humanity has faced many challenges. We've always come out stronger." As they spoke, something incredible was happening in orbit. Earth's hidden space fleet, kept secret for years, was moving into position. Sleek ships, built with technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien crafts, surrounded the Imperial vessels. In the White House Situation Room, President Thompson watched the space radar. She turned to her military advisor. "Are we ready?" The advisor nodded. "Yes, Madam President. Operation Cosmic Shield is in place." Back in Switzerland, the meeting was ending. Neither side was happy. As the human team turned to leave, Dr. Santos spoke one last time to the aliens. "You should know," she said, her voice calm but firm, "that humanity has never lost a war on our own planet. We've faced empires before. They're all gone. We're still here." Ambassador Zorn looked shocked. For the first time, a flicker of doubt crossed his face. As the human team walked away, Colonel Harper whispered to Dr. Santos, "Do you think they got the message?" Dr. Santos nodded. "I hope so, for their sake." In orbit, Admiral Zax of the Imperial fleet was receiving bad news. His sensors had just detected Earth's hidden fleet. "Impossible," he muttered. "How did they hide this from us?" His second-in-command looked worried. "Sir, should we attack now?" Admiral Zax hesitated. For the first time in his long career, he felt unsure. These humans were not what the Empire had expected. They were stronger, more advanced, and clearly not afraid. As night fell on Earth, millions looked up at the sky. The alien ships were visible, glowing faintly among the stars. But now, Earth's own ships were there too, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. In homes, in bunkers, and in military bases around the world, people waited. The Galactic Empire had made its move. Now, it was humanity's turn to respond. High above Earth, Aboard the massive Imperial flagship, Admiral Zax paced back and forth. His forearms were clasped behind his back, his purple eyes narrowed in thought. Around him, alien officers worked at their stations, their fingers flying over strange, glowing controls. "This cannot be," Zax muttered. "How could we have underestimated these humans so badly?" His second-in-command, Commander Vex, approached cautiously. "Admiral, we finished our analysis of the human fleet. Their technology, it's far more advanced than we thought possible." Zax turned to face the large view screen dominating the bridge. Earth hung there, a beautiful blue marble. But now, surrounding it, were hundreds of sleek human ships. They looked small compared to the Imperial vessels, but their very existence was shocking. "The Emperor must be informed," Zax said finally. "Prepare a transmission." As the Empire grappled with this unexpected turn of events, Earth was buzzing with activity. In a secret underground base beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Sarah Rodriguez watched as data streamed in from their orbiting fleet. "Status report," she barked. A young lieutenant snapped to attention. "Ma'am, all ships report ready. Our new plasma cannons are charged, and the quantum shields are at full power." Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. Years of reverse engineering alien tech had paid off. They were ready. Meanwhile, in laboratories around the world, scientists worked frantically to understand the Empire's technology. In a high-tech facility in Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka peered into a microscope, studying a tiny piece of metal recovered from an Imperial scout ship. "Incredible," she breathed. "The molecular structure, it's like nothing we've ever seen." Her colleague, Dr. John Smith, looked up from his computer. "Yuki, you need to see this. I've run simulations on their propulsion system. If we can replicate it, we could reach the stars in days, not years." As humanity raced to catch up, the Empire was facing a crisis. In the grand halls of the Imperial Palace on a distant world, Emperor Zorax listened as Admiral Zax gave his report. "Great Emperor," Zax said, his holographic image flickering slightly, "the humans are not the primitive species we believe them to be. They have ships, weapons. They may even rival our technology in some areas." Emperor Zorax, a towering figure with 6 arms and a crown that seemed to glow with inner light, leaned forward on his throne. "How is this possible? Our scouts reported them as barely spacefaring." Zax looked uncomfortable. "It seems, Your Highness, that they have been preparing in secret. They knew we were coming." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And what of our demands? Will they submit to Imperial rule?" They have refused, Your Highness. In fact, they warned us to leave their system." A murmur ran through the assembled alien courtiers. Never in the history of the Empire had a species dared to challenge them so boldly. Back on Earth, in the Oval Office, President Thompson was meeting with her top advisors. The room was tense, filled with the low hum of urgent conversations. "What are our options?" she asked, her voice steady despite the weight of the situation. Defense Secretary Johnson stepped forward. "Madam President, our fleet is in position. We can strike first, catch them off guard." Dr. Emily Chen, the chief scientist, shook her head. "We should try to negotiate. Their technology could advance us by centuries if we can make peace." President Thompson listened carefully, then stood. "We'll do both. Prepare our fleet for battle, but send one more message. Give them a chance to leave peacefully." As Earth's leaders debated their next move, ordinary people around the world watched and waited. In a small cafe in Paris, an old man sipped his coffee and looked up at the sky. "You know," he said to no one in particular, "I've lived through wars and revolutions, but I never thought I'd see the day when humanity would stand up to the stars themselves." A young woman at the next table smiled at him. "We're full of surprises, aren't we?" As night fell across the planet, the tension was palpable. In orbit, 2 fleets faced each other, neither willing to back down. The Galactic Empire, for the first time in its long history, faced a choice. retreat or face a war unlike any they had fought before. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy, hung in the balance. The world held its breath as Earth's hidden fleet moved into position. In the skies above every major city, sleek spacecraft appeared as if from nowhere. They were beautiful and terrifying, a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Admiral Jane Chen stood on the bridge of the EFSS Defiant, Earth's flagship. Her eyes scanned the countless displays showing the positions of both human and alien ships. "All ships, report in," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. One by one, captains from around the world responded. EFS Thunder, standing by. EFS Nova, ready for action. EFS Horizon, awaiting orders. In orbit, the Imperial fleet watched in stunned silence as Earth's armada took shape. Admiral Zax's eyes widened as he realized the true extent of human military power. "Impossible," he muttered. Where were they hiding all of this? His second-in-command, Vex, looked equally shocked. "Sir, our sensors are detecting weapons we've never seen before. The humans. They're more advanced than we thought." Back on Earth, in Times Square, people gasped as the sky filled with ships. Some cried, others cheered, but all felt the enormity of the moment. Sarah, a young student, squeezed her friend Mike's hand. "Look," she whispered, pointing up. "Those are ours. We're not defenseless after all." Mike nodded, his face a mix of pride and fear. "I just hope it's enough." In the White House Situation Room, President Thompson watched the unfolding events on a wall of screens. She turned to her military advisor, General Rodriguez. "It's time," she said. "Show them what we can do." General Rodriguez nodded and spoke into her comm device. "Admiral Chen, you have a go for Operation Cosmic Shield." In space, Admiral Chen's voice rang out across the human fleet. "All ships, initiate Cosmic Shield." Suddenly, the space between Earth and the Imperial fleet lit up. A shimmering, translucent barrier appeared, stretching from pole to pole. It was Earth's ultimate defense, a planet-wide force field. On the Imperial flagship, alarms blared. Vex turned to Admiral Zax, his voice shaking. "Sir, we're detecting a massive energy field. It's blocking all our weapon systems." Zax stared in disbelief. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. As the Empire reeled from this revelation, Earth unveiled its offensive capabilities. From hidden bases on the Moon and Mars, massive cannons emerged. They were the result of decades of secret development, weapons capable of striking targets across the solar system. Admiral Chen's voice was calm but firm as she hailed the Imperial fleet. "Attention, Galactic Empire. You have entered Earth's sovereign space uninvited. We have shown you only a fraction of our defensive capabilities. Leave now, or we will be forced to demonstrate our offensive power." In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zorax received the transmission. His advisors watched nervously as his face darkened with rage. "How dare these primitives threaten us?" he roared. "Prepare for full-scale invasion." But back on the Imperial flagship, Admiral Zax hesitated. He could see what the Emperor, far away, could not: the true strength of humanity. On Earth, in laboratories and command centers, humans worked tirelessly. Dr. Yuki Tanaka had a breakthrough in understanding the alien propulsion system. "We can match their speed now," she announced to cheers from her team. In a secret facility deep underground, a group of engineers unveiled their greatest achievement. It was a weapon that could disrupt the very fabric of space-time, capable of stopping an entire fleet in its tracks. As tensions reached their peak, Admiral Chen received a message from President Thompson. She nodded, then turned to her communications officer. "Send this message to the Imperial fleet," she ordered. "To the Galactic Empire. We have not sought this conflict, but we are prepared for it. We have faced extinction before and survived. We have overcome divisions among ourselves to stand united today. This is your final warning. Run. Leave our solar system now, or face the full might of humanity. As the message was transmitted, the human fleet stood ready. The Empire faced a choice they had never encountered before. For the first time in their history of conquest, they were not the most powerful force in the battle. The next move would determine the fate of both humanity and the Empire. The vastness of space seemed to hold its breath. Earth's ultimatum hung in the air, a challenge unlike any the Galactic Empire had ever faced. On board the Imperial flagship, Admiral Zax stared at the view screen, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly as he processed the situation. "Sir," his second-in-command, Vex, spoke hesitantly, "what are your orders?" Zax remained silent, his mind racing. In all his years of service to the Empire, he had never encountered a species like humans. Their technology, their determination, their sheer audacity. It was both impressive and terrifying. Meanwhile, on Earth, tension gripped every corner of the planet. In the White House Situation Room, President Thompson stood surrounded by her advisors, her eyes fixed on the large screen showing the standoff in space. "Madam President," General Rodriguez said, breaking the silence, "our forces are ready. We await your command." Thompson nodded, her face grave. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that." In orbit, aboard the EFS Defiant, Admiral Jane Chen watched the Imperial fleet closely. Her fingers hovered over the controls, ready to give the order that would unleash Earth's full military might. "Admiral," her tactical officer reported, "we're detecting increased energy readings from the Imperial ships. They might be preparing to attack." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Keep our weapons hot. If they so much as twitch, we'll show them what humanity can do." Back on the Imperial flagship, Zax finally made his decision. He turned to his communication officer. "Send a message to the Emperor. We need to retreat." A gasp went through the bridge. Vex stepped forward, his voice low. "Sir, the Emperor will not be pleased. We've never retreated before." Zax's face hardened, "And we've never faced a species like this before. If we fight, we might win, but at what cost? No, it's time to be smart, not proud." As the message was sent, activity on the Imperial ships increased. Slowly, almost reluctantly, they began to turn away from Earth. On the Defiant, Chen's tactical officer shouted in surprise, "Admiral, the Imperial fleet, they're withdrawing." A cheer went up across the bridge, quickly silenced by Chen's raised hand. "Don't celebrate yet. Keep our defenses up until they're out of our solar system." As news of the Empire's retreat spread, reactions varied across Earth. In New York's Times Square, the crowd erupted in joy. Sarah and Mike hugged each other, tears streaming down their faces. "We did it," Sarah shouted over the noise. "We stood up to them, and we won." In Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka and her team watched the Imperial ships depart on their lab's big screen. "We've made history today," she said softly. "But our work is just beginning." In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zorax received Zax's message with fury. He smashed a nearby table with 3 of his 6 arms. "Cowards," he roared. "How dare they retreat from primitives?" But as his advisors cautiously explained the situation, showing him images of Earth's defenses and the human fleet, Zorax's anger slowly turned to grudging respect. "Perhaps," he mused, "we have underestimated these humans." Back on Earth, President Thompson addressed the world. Her face, broadcast on screens globally, showed both relief and determination. "Today, we have shown the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with. We came together, all nations, all peoples, to face this threat, and we prevailed." As she spoke, the Imperial fleet passed beyond the orbit of Pluto, leaving the solar system behind. Admiral Zax watched Earth shrink to a tiny blue dot on his view screen. "Log this in the Imperial records," he commanded. "Earth is not to be approached without extreme caution. These humans, they are unlike any species we have encountered." As night fell across the planet, people everywhere looked up at the stars with new eyes. The universe had suddenly become much larger, much more complex, but humanity had proven itself ready for the challenge. In a small park in London, an old man sat on a bench, gazing at the sky. A young boy approached him, curiosity shining in his eyes. "Grandpa," he asked, "do you think the aliens will come back?" The old man smiled, patting the boy's hand. "I don't know, lad, but if they do, they'll find us ready. The stars aren't just pretty lights anymore. They're our future." As the Imperial ships disappeared into the depths of space, Earth began to prepare for its new role in the galaxy. The age of isolation was over. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the Galactic Empire's retreat. Earth was a changed planet, buzzing with newfound energy and purpose. The revelation of advanced technology and the existence of alien life had united humanity in ways never before seen. In New York, the newly established Galactic Affairs building stood tall, its sleek design a blend of human and alien architecture. Inside, Ambassador Maria Santos hurried down a corridor, her steps echoing on the polished floor. She entered a large conference room where representatives from various nations waited. "Good morning," she said, taking her seat. "We have much to discuss." Around the world, similar meetings were taking place. Humanity was preparing for its new role in the galactic community. Meanwhile, in space, Earth's first official diplomatic mission was underway. The starship EFS Unity, commanded by Captain Jack Harper, approached a distant planet known for its neutrality in galactic politics. On the bridge, Harper turned to his alien liaison officer, a green-skinned being named Zara. "Are we ready for this?" he asked. Zara nodded, her large eyes blinking. "The galaxy is curious about humans, Captain. This is our chance to show them who we really are." Back on Earth, in a high-tech laboratory in Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka made a breakthrough. She burst into her supervisor's office, waving a tablet excitedly. "We did it," she exclaimed. "We've cracked the faster-than-light travel equation." Her supervisor, Dr. Johnson, looked up in shock. "Are you sure?" Yuki nodded, her eyes shining. "With this, we can explore the galaxy on our own terms." As Earth advanced, the Galactic Empire was in turmoil. In the Grand Imperial Palace, Emperor Zorax faced a council of angry nobles. "How could you let the humans defy us?" one shouted. Zorax raised his hands for silence. "The humans have shown themselves to be formidable. We must rethink our strategy." In a quiet corner of the palace, Admiral Zax met with a group of like-minded officers. "The Empire must change," he said in a low voice. "The old ways of conquest no longer work." Across the galaxy, news of humanity's stand against the Empire spread. On countless worlds, oppressed species began to whisper of resistance. Earth became a symbol of hope. On a distant trading post, an alien merchant told wide-eyed listeners, "I heard the humans have weapons that can stop time itself." Another chimed in, "They say their planet is protected by an energy field stronger than 1,000 suns." While the rumors grew wilder, Earth continued its preparations. In a secret facility beneath the Atlantic Ocean, General Sarah Rodriguez oversaw the construction of a massive defense platform. With this, she explained to President Thompson during a secure video call, "We can protect not just Earth, but our entire solar system." Thompson nodded approvingly. "Excellent. But remember, our goal is peace. We defend, not conquer." As Earth's influence grew, so did its responsibilities. When a devastating asteroid threatened a populated world on the galaxy's outer rim, it was Earth that answered the distress call. Captain Lisa Chen of the ESS Horizon stood on her ship's bridge, watching as her crew worked tirelessly to divert the asteroid. "This is why we're out here," she said to her first officer. "Not to conquer, but to help." The successful mission earned Earth new allies and respect throughout the galaxy. Months turned into years. Earth established itself as a neutral zone, a place where different species could meet and negotiate. The planet became known as a center for innovation, diplomacy, and hope. In a classroom in Lagos, Nigeria, a young teacher pointed to a holographic map of the galaxy. "Who can name the 5 major galactic powers?" she asked. A small boy raised his hand excitedly. "The Galactic Empire, the Andromeda Alliance, the Orion Confederation, the Pleiades Union, and Earth." The teacher smiled. "That's right. And who can tell me what makes Earth special?" A girl in the back spoke up. "We showed the galaxy that you don't need to be the biggest or the oldest to make a difference. You just need to stand together and believe in yourself." As night fell on this new Earth, people looked up at the stars with wonder and pride. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but humanity was ready. They had faced their greatest test and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united. In homes, in spaceships, and on distant worlds, the story was told again and again of how a small blue planet stood up to an empire and changed the course of galactic history. The era of human isolation was over. A new age of exploration, diplomacy, and galactic cooperation had begun.